Alright guys, so hope everyone had a good Christmas weekend. I sure did. Got to spend Christmas with my girlfriend and her family, as well as got to spend a little bit of time with her today. I'm actually filming this at like 10:30 at night, so right before this video is supposed to go up, but unfortunately I still have no new news on the Sport Track. I have no clue where it is or what the current prognosis is on its condition or any sort of new updates today, so apologize for that. I'm hoping that I will hear something this week, and then I will have something to update you guys on Friday's upload. But for now, I have nothing new to report. But today's video, we're going to talk about displacement. I think it's a fun topic to talk about cars. A lot of people contest this all the time. It really just depends on what your favorite kind of engines are and how you feel about displacement changes. And I'm going to talk about my favorite displacement stuff and talk about my preferences. So, downsizing displacement has become a huge thing in the car world in recent years. We've seen it, from everything such as compacts, cars that were running V6s 10 years ago no longer offer V6s and offer turbocharged four cylinders in their place. Cars like the Accord, for example, or in the case of even the trucks. I mean, we've been seeing a downsizing from big V8s to turbo V6s. Ford in particular has been pretty notorious for this. Dodge still isn't going along with that. Dodge is very old school in a sense. They love to keep their big displacement engines in their cars. We have yet to see a four-cylinder Charger or Challenger, and we probably never will. As well as we still have, the V6. We still have a more powerful V6 Ram. We don't see a true competitor to the EcoBoost just yet. Because I don't consider the EcoDiesel a competitor to the EcoBoost, because EcoDiesel is a diesel engine, the EcoBoost is a gas engine, so obviously they aren't going to be in the same kind of bracket. But some of these I like, some of these I don't. We'll talk about kind of the trucks first, because again, this channel revolves mostly around trucks. One thing I like that Ford has done with the 3.5 is that they've done a really good job of keeping them as an option. It's not the default big power engine that Ford offers on the F-150. It's not the only option. Ford still offers a V8 with the F-150. For those who prefer the V8s, I'm actually one of those people. I prefer the V8s as much as I like the 3.5 because I like turbochargers. I like turbo cars. I mean, it's obvious I would like the 3.5. And if they could get the 3.5 in a single cab, I mean, that would be kind of cool, but they don't offer the 3.5 in a single cab for some reason. So, I mean, it's a good option for those who want V8 performance but a better gas mileage. It's pretty much what the EcoBoost exists to do, is to be able to provide V8 level performance but with better gas mileage. And it does a really good job. The 3.5 has been tried and true to the last 10 years. It's been this great engine. Lots of people have been building parts from Livernois, and these other tuning companies are really belting out parts with a 3.5 like it's nothing. Just as much as the Coyote's gotten respect, in the tuner world. But of course, people are going to lose their mind. Oh, I don't want the V6 because of the V6. People, for whatever reason, hate V6s. So, I mean, I'm also more of an inline 6 guy than a V6 guy. But I think in the case of like the F-150, Ford has been kind of trying to pioneer so many different things in the truck market with the F-150. So they're going for more revolution than or more innovation than they are kind of just perfecting the design they have. Which, I mean, is what they do. They've done a lot of innovations. Each company's had their own innovations. I mean, we've seen Dodge with the e-torque system, which I've covered in a review previously. Kind of like a slight bit of hybridization. It's nothing like crucial yet with trucks. Hybridization is kind of a low target for most truck companies. I know Ford's going to release an F-150 hybrid as well as a fully electric F-150, so we'll have to see how that goes. But like the e-torque system was kind of like a good start for that. I think Chevy at one point had a Silverado hybrid, about 10 years ago. They haven't really done anything with it since. So we'll have to wait and see if they do anything with that. But Chevy was also the first company to put a Turbo 4 in a full-size truck with their 2.7 liter. So that's kind of a crazy setup, as Chevy kind of pioneered the four-cylinder full-size, which is kind of a interesting topic to talk about, the fact that Chevy's offering their big truck with a four-cylinder. So it's a pretty good engine. I mean, they use it in the CT4V as well, which I really like. I like the CT4V, so it's kind of a cool concept to see, the tiny I'd say tiny, it's a big four-cylinder, really putting down some numbers and being a pretty solid engine choice for the truck guys who, to replace the 4.3, I think is like a really good option to replace the old 4.3. I mean, it still produces really good performance numbers and theoretically be more tunable than the 4.3 was. Because I mean, four-cylinder turbo fours just have proven to be the better platform than a naturally aspirated V6. So I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, again, Chevy still offers V8 options. I believe the 4.3 is even still an option with the Silverado. But personally, if I had to pick between the 4.3 and the 2.7, I'd actually take the 2.7. But again, Ford and all their hybridization, running the EcoBoost V6 is a kind of a option for for the 5.0. It's like you can either get the V8 or if you want better gas mileage with a similar, if not very close performance, you can get the EcoBoost. So it's like the most common instances of displacement, downsizing, in the truck world, is just all three of them have these odd things. Chevy, like Dodge, is probably the least guilty of this because they don't do much of any, I don't want to say engine design because they do, but differentiating in their engines. The V6s are always naturally aspirated. They're all the same 3.6. They're not they're not all completely different with each iteration. So it's like Dodge really doesn't do much in terms of changing it up every so often and not doing a V8 as the only high torque option in their trucks. Chevy and Ford have kind of done the displacement downsizing. That's kind of their thing. In the car world, we can easily see this as well. Obviously, a lot of cars have dropped their displacements in recent years and gone with smaller engines. There's been lots of rumors that the next big Lamborghini Halo car will even have a V12. Aston Martin is ditching V12s, I believe. Ferrari is still sticking with them. I don't know exactly how long they have left with their V12 market, but to my understanding, they're still sticking with them. Lamborghini, I believe, is fighting to keep up with them. It's like you hear something different every time someone talks about it. With the UK's ban on gas cars and Europe's ban on gas cars in general, I mean, I'd expect to see these kind of cars phase out over the years, which is kind of unfortunate because I do like the gas. I'm an ICE guy. I like internal combustion engines. I just prefer them over electric cars, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But for now, I feel like that. I think on the European side, especially with supercars, downsizing is kind of at its cap. We're probably going to see more electrification than we are going to see downsizing, so we'll have to wait and see on that. In the Japanese side, we haven't really seen much of this. A lot of cars in the Japanese market have been kind of sticking to their guns. I think one of the most notorious examples I can think of from Japan in recent years would be the new Accord. The Accord has always had a V6 option. It's always been a really solid V6 as well. Whether it was the old C series or the J series, I mean, Honda's always had a really good V6 option in the Accord, and it's not been the most popular build platform. A lot of people still prefer the four-cylinder Accords over the V6s when it comes to building performance ideal like Accords. But for the current generation, they actually use a slightly dumbed down version of the Type R's 2-liter. So to replace the V6, so you can still get the 1.5 turbo like what's in the Civic Si, but you can also get the 2-liter, which is pretty much the same thing as the Type R, just a slightly. I think it's like a different turbo and like a slightly different tune. So I mean, I'd say that's also a really, really good option for people who are wanting to get a car that is really good performance, V6 level performance with the 2-liter, but also much better on gas than the V6s were. And again, trucks, the Ranger used to have two V6s as an option, whether it be the 3-liter or the 4-liter, like what was in my truck. And now they only offer the 4-cylinder. And even in the Mustang again, Ford loves doing this downsizing displacement. They canceled the V6 altogether. Meanwhile, Chevy and Dodge are still making V6 versions of their pony cars and muscle cars to use the 4-cylinder. So Ford is now only running a 2.3-liter 4-cylinder turbo in the Mustang. And again, I'm one of those that actually prefers turbo 4s over naturally aspirated 6s. Whether it be an inline or a V6, and I'm an inline 6 guy. I love my inline 6s. Obviously, the 2JZ is my favorite engines. I mean, that's kind of a very obvious fact. I prefer turbo 4-cylinders over V6s, and I think that's always gonna be my thing. So that's why I wasn't too mad when Ford was when everyone freaked out that Ford was canceling the V6 over a 4-cylinder. It was like, 4-cylinder in a Mustang is worse than a V6. So it's like the 4-cylinder is actually kind of better than the V6. I love the 3.7. Don't get me wrong. We have one in the fleet here at the house, but it's like, I don't know, the 2.3 is not a bad engine. But that's my opinion on displacement downsizing. I think in certain cars and certain platforms it's a good thing. Obviously with sports cars, swapping out from naturally aspirated V6s to turbo 4s bring similar horsepower levels but better gas mileage, lower weight. I mean, it just adds a lot more better aspects to them. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed this cool little this sit down video. I know it's filler content, but there's literally nothing I can do. I don't have a car, I don't record, I don't have any reviews to film. I'm kind of on my own here. So, with all that said, hope you all enjoyed. I will see you guys on Friday, hopefully with some news on the sport track. And until then, take care, guys. Have a good rest of your week. And Happy New Year.